Welcome in, everybody. I've got another remote view, a channeling session, and some tarot for you on the Nancy Guthrie case. Do you want to know whether the new detective who was brought out of the cold case division is going to help solve the case now that the guy that was in charge of the Nancy Guthrie case has been promoted to lieutenant? We have somebody new in charge of the case, and I wanted to know if he was going to make a difference to the case. So I mind probed him. I got some intel that I channeled through my guides, as well as mind probing his thoughts. I got the notes for you here. I'm going to read them for you. I'm going to let you see them. And then we're going to pull cards to see how they line up with the answers to those questions. And also, I'm going to show you a video that Daphne did, and we're going to play parts of it and match that to the tarot cards, okay? Is the house being sold? Is it being renovated? All that kind of stuff. Thank you for being here at Motive.Means.Opportunity. My name is Leanne, where we on this channel, we use various forms of intuition, channeling, remote viewing, automatic writing, which I've yet to do, but will do, I'm planning on doing, tarot cards, etc., to solve true crimes. And if that's your thing, welcome in. Thank you for being here. If you're new, thank you for being here. Please do all the YouTube things, like, share, subscribe. Consider joining our lives Monday night at 5:30. And then from there at 7:30, we go into our members live. And every first and last Sunday of every month, we do members lives. Consider that for $2.99 a month Canadian, where we're learning to remote view. And I'm asking all of you, and my members are sending me the results. And we are looking to see if we can locate Nancy Guthrie together. Okay, so let's get at it, okay? Let me change the view so you can see my handwriting, and then we'll get to Daphne's video. And I got to pull cards. And then we'll get to Daphne's video, and then I'll pull cards. Okay, let me change the view for you. Okay, so I'm labeling this more channeling session and mind probe versus remote view. And someone asked me and emailed me in our members group, I didn't realize you could hear things in remote viewing, and you really can't. Remote viewing is about visions and snippets of information, but I'm also getting downloads from my guides and channeling. So I'm doing a little bit of both in these sessions, just so you know. So I wanted to know if the new detective in charge, what does he think about the case? And this was my intention of being inside his mind. And I hear, the first thing I hear is lost cause. And then almost like a scratch thought, like, we're not saying that publicly, but inside this detective's mind, the private thoughts inside his mind, it's complicated, not much to go on, and a lost cause. His theory, I asked what his theory was based on the evidence, and kidnapping gone wrong, Nancy dying unexpectedly, and ransom notes are real. Belief. Then I asked, why are you out looking for Nancy Guthrie again to follow up on old leads? Oh, sorry, I think that one's up too high up. To follow up on old leads. And then this is where my guides come in. Will this detective now in charge of this case break this case with this new evidence? Yes, he might. Will he crack the case? And then I hear he needs a lucky break. So at this point, he needs a lucky break in order to crack the case. Okay, so this is where I'm getting into Daphne's video, and I'll pull cards and we'll watch that together. But I did ask a remote view, but let's wait on that. So what I want to do now is I want to go back to the same questions, because you all told me you liked this format, right? And I'm going to pull cards. So let me just put this aside. the new detective in charge, right? I want to know what the cards say about what he thinks about this case. What does he think about this case? That it's over. That it's done. This is an end of a cycle. Wow. Okay, is that good or bad? And the underneath the card, the under the deck card, the death. The death. It's a lost cause. That's what I heard. That's okay. What does he think of this case? Faked death. Whoa. Whoa. Hang on a second. Now I've got my attention because that's my theory. What does he think about this case? Wow. Inside. Didn't we get that one before? Didn't we get that one before? Someone inside. Wow. Like inside the FAMALY, rather. Let's get a clarifier on inside. What does he think about inside? Oh my God. Look at the couple. Oh my God. Oh my God. They tried to fake a death, although we now believe it's likely, but the intent was to start a new life inside. And we've got a couple with 2 of cups here. Wow. Whoa. If that's my theory, I did not expect that to come out. Wow. Okay, let's get some more. Fascinating. Okay, I've got this deck now. Whoa. Okay, let me split it into 2 because I can't hold it. What does he think about this case? Evidence frozen, preserved outside. And look at what I said, evidence, and look at the bottom of the deck. Evidence is frozen outside and preserved. Okay, what does he think about this case? I mean, frozen meaning, what does he think about this case? That there's something false about it, something deceptive about it. Let me get some clarifiers on the false and deceptive. Get some clarifiers on the, false and deceptive. Somebody had a bright idea. Somebody had a thought, an idea. 4 of Swords. Somebody thought they would needed some rest, some retreat, some help. So they had this bright idea. Okay, I'm going to pull another few cards from a different deck, and then we'll move on to another question. What does this officer think about this case? Hope everybody's doing well. What does this new detective in charge think about this case? Does this new detective in charge release? He'd like to get rid of it. He'd like to get rid of it. Wow. He'd like to get rid of it. What does he think about this case? Those ones fell out, but one of them flipped inside here. I'm trying to figure out which one it is. Sometimes it flips back. I feel it flip. I know it flipped, but it might have. No, there it is. Gifts. 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 What's the clarifier on the gifts? Gifts. What's the clarifier on the gifts? What's the clarifier on the gifts? Sorry. Got cards on the floor. What's the clarifier on the gifts? I got one more down, 2 more down here. Oops. Sloppy shuffle. Okay. So what does he think about, what is this gifts? Give me more on this gifts. That he'd like to release the case, never have taken it, not be in charge. And what are these gifts? That they're going I feel like it's like they're going to be relying on new evidence to come in. I kind of feel like that's what I got in the remote view. What are these gifts? Okay, something turned. Something turned. Where is the card that turned? Flipped. There it is. Okay, there's two. Temperance. Yeah. They're going to need some luck. They're going to need to get some new information. Temperance for me is about a little bit of that, a little bit of that to come up with a new solution. So they're going to need some gifts, some new leads, which is what the remote viewing said. 10 of Wands, extremely heavy burden. He's carrying an extreme heavy burden. Wow. Okay, one more. No kidding, eh? The whole world's watching. No pressure. This was one of the ones that flipped out earlier when the cards were all over the place. 7 of Pentacles, lots of theories, lots of angles, trying to reevaluate the evidence. So now I want to ask, why they went back searching for Nancy in the neighborhood. We also, by the way, for anybody that didn't know, I showed on the live that Nancy Guthrie, and I really didn't think, but we were already covering a live and people wanted to go into it. Really didn't think it was Nancy, but Brian Etten confirmed that he didn't think it was related to Nancy, the deceased person found. Okay, although it was interesting that everybody was talking about it so much, but whatever. Okay. What did I ask? Why they went looking for Nancy again? Why did they go looking for Nancy again? Because I think the remote view was, what was the answer? To follow up on old leads. To follow up on old leads. Why did they go looking for Nancy again recently? That fell out because it was a sloppy shuffle. Why did they recently go looking for Nancy again? Okay, this one flipped. Warning. Somebody gave them a warning. Somebody gave them a lead. Look at this crow is talking. Give me a clarifier on this. Somebody gave them a heads up. Yeah, left out in the bush. Somebody gave them a heads up that she was there, left out somewhere there. So an old lead they were following up on. Okay. This is the feeling left out in the cold, left out in the bush in this, literally in this case. Is he going to be able to crack this case? Is this new guy going to be able to crack this case? Is the new guy going to be able to crack this case? Yeah! Oh my God, it doesn't get any better than that. There's only one yes card in the deck, and that's a yes. Wow. I'm so excited. Sorry, I didn't mean to scream in your ear. Oh my God. Okay, that's a perfect way to go into Daphne's video. Let's bring that up for you now. OMG. I love it.
Tommaso have been vacant from their home since May, rumor has it. And they probably are staying elsewhere. I've heard that they are in Italy or maybe in another location, as there's been a lot of backlash towards Annie and Tommaso. Most probably because the authorities kept their vehicle for 40 some days, almost 2 months. The authorities were at their house and a few times. So and then they were the last persons to see Nancy alive. So Annie and Tommaso have been at the forefront of this backlash. All eyes have been on them. So I understand that they've left the area. I mean, they probably no longer feel safe in their home, from what I can imagine. But today we're going to talk about Annie's old business dealings. She
Okay, so let's pull cards. Are Annie and Tommaso abroad? Are Annie and Tommaso abroad? Did they go to Italy? I pulled a few cards and realized wow, the world is the traveling card. Success, expanding your horizons. 3 of Wands is waiting for your ships to come in, looking out to sea, expanding your options, traveling, and success. Wow. Wow. I think they might be abroad. Wow. Okay. Let's keep watching Daphne. Let's keep watching Daphne.
and this business was called the Jewel Smithery, and it was short lived. I don't know why. It doesn't look like the business went bankrupt or anything, but let's take a look into it. So, this video today is going to be focusing mainly on Annie. I'm also going to share a clip of another creator. They did a great job. They took a drive from Annie and Tommaso's current home to Nancy's, uh, focusing on the same time as 9:30, when Nancy would have left Annie and Tommaso's house that night and been dropped off. It's about a 10-minute drive. So we're going to take a look at that as well. But first, we're going to focus on this. What you see in front of you is an old article, and it's from the Arizona Daily Star. The Jewel Smithery has a unique artesian. So it goes on to say May 5th, 2007. Can you guys remember way back then? This is around the time that Annie and Tommaso met, from my understanding. Now, it goes on to say Tucson native Annie Guthrie has been selling her handcrafted and often one of a kind jewelry pieces in upscale boutiques such as Rochelle K and Best Friends for a decade. So it speaks about her best friend, Rochelle K, and best friends for a decade. Those unique baubles can now be found at the Jewel Smithery, and it gives the address of 299 South Park Ave, and I will show you exactly where that is located on our maps in just a moment. A shop Guthrie and her business partner, Sophie Albertson Gelb, recently opened. I studied under an old master, she says. He's a dying breed. Guthrie, who is also a poet and a graphic designer for the Poetry Center at the University of Arizona, describes her style as romantic and feminine and influenced by the world around her. But one of her specialties is crafting custom creations that match the personality of the wearer. This speaks about her making engagement rings for people. So Annie Guthrie basically made these custom engagement and wedding rings using fine stones. She's done a diamond ring for as low as $3,000. They spend sometimes months and months getting to know a person, she says. I really like that. To help get the store off the ground, Guthrie took on a partner. So, what does this mean? To help the store get off the ground. So, she needed help to basically get the store going. Okay. So, this partner, is a Dutch born Sophie Albertson Gelb. Albertson Gelb also does custom work and specializes in enamel. The two women have distinct styles that really blend nicely. Albertson Gelb got her start in jewelry in Denmark at the age of 13 with some tutoring from a family friend. This is the location here of the old business that Annie had with this woman. Okay. And it looked like maybe Annie's best friend was a part of this group of making jewelry. So let's go take a look at this location, the 299 South Park Ave. This location here with the yellow dot is where this particular shop was that Annie had with this other woman. Now, at this point in time, Annie lived close by, not too far away at 452 South Otero Avenue. So she was actually living close by to this shop. Now, I'm going to kind of pull out here and show you that Annie had a house here at the time that she worked over here where her shop was. So it wasn't too far away. Now there's other places here that are marked in yellow that Annie has actually lived prior to the place where she lives now. And of course, we all know that Annie had a business over or sold her jewelry at the Splinter, which came later on, and that is the Splinter Collective. And that has actually been spoken about quite a lot. Okay. Um, Annie seems to have several different little things going on with her jewelry. She had something called Annie Guthrie Design at one point. Um, and then this would be the Splinter Collective over here. So I believe they are closed down currently, but I'm not too sure. Now, let's take a look into the woman who was the co owner with Annie, looking at Sophie Albertson. So, this woman here is or was a business partner with Annie Guthrie. Now, that business was a short live, and soon enough, this Sophie would have taken on a different name called Mast, Mast, at the same location where they had the jewel smithery. Like I said, I'm not putting blame or pointing the finger at this woman, Sophie, like she did anything to Nancy. All I'm doing is connecting some dots because Annie Guthrie basically got her business off the ground by adding a co owner. That's telling me she needed the funding. But what is weird here with that date? So the shop opened in May 2007. Now, look at this. Looking at here is just a screenshot from realtor.com. And we can go to the website if you want to see all the dates. But right now, we're just going to focus on the 2007. Now, what I found strange was that shop, the Jewel Smithery, was opened in May 2007. Nancy is listing her home a couple months prior and then must have taken it off market and then listed it again on May 7th, 2007. That is the same month and the same year she listed her home as Annie opening a business and then saying that she needed help, basically getting it off the ground. That's why she got a co owner. So, what am I getting at here? I find it very coincidental that Nancy is putting her home on the market at the same time Annie's opening a business. And then if you look at this is actual realtor.com. It's public information. You can go look at it yourself. And we're going to come up here to October 2004. And you could see the October 2007, she removed her house from the market. And that was right after. You could see here how she listed her home in May 2007. She listed it and then removed it again. That was around the same time Annie opened that business, the Jewel Smithery. Now we're going to move up here to the end of 2004. Okay. She listed her home and then she removed the listing. If you remember, shortly after that, Annie and Tommaso had purchased their home at the Torino Street. And I always wondered, how were they able to get like a home loan for that house on a teacher's salary? You know what I mean? Like a teacher's salary. Because you have to have the money to back up if you're going to buy a home. Now, I'm not saying this is what Annie and Tommaso did. They borrowed money from Nancy and she put her house up as like collateral for them to be able to buy their home. I do know that the current home that they moved out of wasn't like someone didn't buy it yet. But they purchased the one on Torino Street. Now, it really does look like Nancy had put her home up for them to be able to purchase the house on Torino Street. Now, that's all fine and dandy. Not saying they had anything to do with Nancy's disappearance. But it is very quite coincidental that in May 2007, it's the same thing. Annie opened up the business and it's the same month, the same year. And then Nancy closes it at the end of 2007. What is that telling us? I don't know, but it's very coincidental.
Let's see what the cards say. Is there anything to this? Is there any relationship to Annie's buying up the business and Nancy Guthrie's homes being listed? Two of Cups, decisions being made, partnerships, Hierophant, contracts. One of Pentacles, Nine of Wands, somebody's stuck and stressed, a new start, a new beginning. And it's the Pentacles, so it's a financial new start. So I'm going to say yes. I'm absolutely going to say yes. Let's keep listening to Daphne.
Now, before we move on to something else, I want to show you this. This is basically a new permit, and it's for electrical work for a new addition on Nancy's house. Look at this. So there is a permit that was issued here in March of 2026, and it was for an addition to, which I think is her casita. Could somebody had been living in there at the time of her disappearance? Or are they just fixing things up on the house? Now, it's the same company that was out there in January. Look at this. So this right here shows you which is public information, and it says electrical, mechanical permit, and it says final now. So this is the actual company that did the work on Nancy's house right here at 4545 South Mission Road, number 240. Now, what's weird is there was a dispatch call back in March saying they needed a search warrant. Listen to this. Now, I'm going to play this dispatch for you. This was back in March, but this is the same area in which this company who worked on Nancy's house for electrical. Now, there are different building numbers in there. They don't give a building number. Maybe they were searching the entire place, but it's the same exact address. Just take a listen.
We're going to stay on. We're serving a search warrant at 4545 South Mission.
Now I'm going to play it back really slow so you can understand it.
We're going to stay on. We're serving a search warrant at 4545 South Mission. We're going to stay on.
What do you guys think about that? That's quite strange. You know, it makes me go back to the FBI. They've been in the neighborhood, and word is from the neighbors that they're looking for a utility vehicle. Well, it sounds like they did a search warrant back in March at the same location. Could it be that they searched that building because they thought that maybe one of the electricians did something to Nancy? I don't know. I just thought it was interesting and I wanted to share it with you.
Cards say, let's see what the cards say. Is there a connection to them recently saying they are looking for a utility truck and the search warrant that they issued? Is there anything to do with the Nancy Guthrie case and that search warrant? Is there anything to do with the Nancy Guthrie case and that search warrant? The devil was in reverse. Is there anything to do with Nancy Guthrie and that search warrant? Seems to be yes. Not sure. They're conflicted, not sure. They're trying to expand their search, but absolutely they have suspicions. They have suspicions. That's was stuck in there, but let's see if I can get some more clarifiers. Anything connected here to do with the search warrant that they issued and the electrical workers on Nancy Guthrie's home? Is it related to the case? And I would say yes. We've got the high priestess. Somebody's thinking that there may be a connection, following their intuition, a little bit conflicted about it, but that there's this devil energy, so left out in the cold, expanding their horizons. So perhaps the emperor, the person now in charge of the case, is following their instincts that maybe there might be something there. That's the cards. That's what I'm getting. That there may be something there. Okay, let's listen, because we got 2 more things she's going to tell us, and then we're going to pull cards on those.
And her prior business dealings with this other person. We went over Nancy's putting her home up for sale around the same time as Annie's business and Annie buying a home the last time. Could it be a connection there? Could something had happened where, I don't know, like Annie needed money again and Nancy said no? I don't know. Just throwing it out there for you. I don't believe in coincidences. So there's that. Okay, so I want to show you this. There is another YouTuber, another streamer, and they did an actual drive from Annie's house that night at 9:30 to Nancy's. So this would have been what Nancy would have seen on her way home. Look at this. So what you're about to look at is a video done by Righteous Monkey. Go over and sub up to his channel. He did a great job with this. He's a local there in Tucson. And basically what he did was he retraced the exact drive from Annie and Tommaso's home at 9:30 p.m. and drove all the way to Nancy's house. This would have been like the drive Nancy witnessed when she was dropped off by Tommaso. Now check this out.
All right, let's get you home, Nancy.
I want to pause it right there for just one moment. You could see the chevron here on the right. And you remember in like the first days, there was a Circle K and a chevron in the case. Basically, the Pima County Sheriff's Department basically went there and wanted camera footage from these gas stations. Now, there was rumors that Tommaso had stopped at one of these gas stations on his way to drop Nancy off, but those were never confirmed. Now, I'm going to fast forward through this video. If you want to watch to the end, go over and check out Righteous Monkey. He just posted this video not too long ago. Now, look at how dark when he gets into Nancy's neighborhood. Now he's on Nancy's road here. Think about it. If there was a vehicle involved, look how bright these lights look. It lights up everything because it's so dark out there. Those are the new signs that they put out for the parking, guys.
Your destination is on the left.
All right, have a good night, Nancy.
I thought that was a really, really good video because it shows exactly what Nancy would have seen on her ride home from Annie and Tommaso's home, except for it, he has to do it from the road because he can't pull out of Annie and Tommaso's driveway and then pull into Nancy's. And what do you guys think about those new no parking signs? Why did they upgrade those? Very, very weird. Are they expecting something to break soon? Are they getting close? I don't know. Okay, last.
Should we see if something's going to break soon? I know we kind of got the yes card, but let's see if something's going to break soon. Let's see, those kind of fell out. Interestingly enough, Four of Wands, success. Is something going to break soon on the Nancy Guthrie case? Is something going to break soon? There's a bunch that fell out, so let me put those back in. Is something going to break soon on this case? Is something going to break soon? Death in reverse. Is something going to break soon? One wanted to come out, but it didn't flip. Two of Pentacles. Is something going to break soon? New direction. Case is not dead. There's a new direction. Somebody's tired and working a lot. Is there going to be a new break in this case? Influence and risk. What the heck is that? Is there going to be a new break in the case? What does that mean? Influence and risk. Is there going to be a new break in the case? Social media. Ooh. Ooh, interesting. So something they put out in social media was a risk, but it may have an impact. Is that what we're seeing? Seems to be. Surveilling. They're surveilling somebody. They're surveilling somebody. What? Seriously? Could it be that they're surveilling? Is there possible something that's going to... Somebody that's not talking, that feels trapped, that they're surveilling? That's what I'm getting. I don't think it's like literal trafficking. Okay, let's get one more. Is there about to be a break in this case? Are we going to see a break in this case? Somebody that's got some fear, that feels trapped, that they're trying to get to break, that they're being dominated over. Wow. You know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm thinking on that one, on the A and the A and T team. That's what's coming to my mind. Okay, let's go back to...
More human remains have been found. Why is this happening? Well, right now there's monsoon season in Arizona. So they're having like flash flooding and stuff. And a lot of these bodies are like right off the road or they're in a wash. So let's take an actual look at where these remains have been found.
I thought she went in here and told us more here about the other things she looked into, but I'm just going to go into it. And I had remote viewed on it. And remember, I said I wasn't going to answer yet. And that was, has the family declared Nancy Guthrie dead yet? I heard not dead, deceased yet. Because, you know, there was rumors going around. Maybe it wasn't Daphne that said it. Maybe it was someone else. I heard someone say there was rumors that somebody found a death certificate for her February 1st. And I asked, has family declared Nancy Guthrie deceased yet? I heard not yet from my guides. Are renovations being done at the home at the moment? I heard no. Is the house to be sold? Not yet, but eventually, yes. So that's what I got. So I want to just do some cards on that, okay? Has Nancy Guthrie been declared deceased yet? No. I think that's the Hermit is things that are on pause, that they're working towards getting that done, but they might be on a pause at the moment for whatever reason. Could be if there's a deal being made, right? Knight of Pentacles, slow and steadily, they are moving towards that process, is what I'm getting. Has the family declared Nancy Guthrie deceased yet? Let's get another tarot deck. I think that they're slowly moving towards it. Slow progress moving towards it, but there's a slight pause right now. And I'm wondering if that's because of what I'm thinking about this plea deal. Two of Pentacles. Somebody's got a decision to make. Trying to decide. Somebody's got a decision to make. Three of Pentacles. Somebody's got a decision to make about whether they're going to work with somebody and collaborate with somebody. It sure feels like a deal, like somebody might be, wow. Four of Pentacles. We've got a progression, 2, 3, 4 of Pentacles. That happens so rarely, so rarely. Four of Pentacles is somebody's concealing something, hiding something about some collaboration, possible contract, teamwork, trying to decide. Wow. Trying to decide. So I'd say not yet. That's what I got in my remote view. So the next question I want to pull cards for is renovations. Are they being done at the home? Are renovations being done at the home right now? Are renovations being done at the home right now? They've been put on pause. The Magician. Yeah, they've been put on pause. The Jokester and the Magician, they're trying to create something else here. They've been put on pause because they're trying to do something else. Because the Jokester Magician is finding a solution, manifesting something else. So it's been put on pause. Two of Cups. There we go. That couple trying to make a decision. Trying to make a decision. So no renovations yet. How about is the house being sold? Lots of communication. Lots of communication about this. Is the house to be sold? Is the house going to be sold? I think it's going to depend. Is the house to be sold? Is the house to be sold? Not a lot of communication about it. A lot of communication being discussed about whether, about whether or not this house is to be sold. And that tells me, sorry, my whole deck went on the floor, that has not been decided yet. They're still talking about it. That is the communication card. Okay, everybody. Let me change my angle. Let me change my angle. I hope you enjoyed that reading. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you'll join us for Lindsay Clancy Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, and Friday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. Look out for more readings, 2 or 3 more readings throughout the week, and on Monday live at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and members at 7:30. Thank you for being here. Love and light. Cheers. I didn't do that properly with the deck in my hands. Love and light. Cheers.